A bit of fun tonight with Son of Frankenstein, although when the film was made in 1939, I don't think most of the people who saw it at that time thought it was funny. They probably thought it was quite terrifying. It was the last film, I think, really, to take the Frankenstein idea seriously. I don't know how many films have been made utilising the monster and the Frankenstein family since this time. The only film I can remember was the one made in England, which called The Whole Story of Frankenstein, The True Story. That's about the only other film I can remember since 1939 that took this subject seriously. There have been a number of send-ups. The only thing there hasn't been to date is a musical, and sometimes I feel it's just around the corner. Although I do remember Peter Boyle, I think it was, in the wonderful Mel Brooks film, singing and dancing as the monster. But in 1939 it was still a terrifying subject, and Universal was still taking it seriously. They'd made the first Frankenstein movie with Karloff in 1931. They made The Bride of Frankenstein a few years later, and 4 years later still, with a different producer-director, Roland Lee instead of James Whale, they made The Son of Frankenstein. And what a lovely cast they got together for this particular film. All your favourite movie monster characters, although that's not quite fair to say that about Basil Rathbone, who would be my favourite villain that Hollywood ever dreamed up. He was born in South Africa and made many films, one of the smoothest performers. Always a touch of ham, perhaps, about Basil Rathbone, but a very effective actor on the screen, and of course one of the screen's most famous Sherlock Holmes. And here, of course, in his last portrayal of the monster is Boris Karloff. Many people have played the role since, but none have played it so well. There he is with young Donnie Dunnigan in a scene from this particular movie, and that's a scene that must have been quite chilling in its day. There is, of course, another scene from the movie. Just to the left of those characters, here, just out of the picture, unfortunately, is the other great star of this film, called Bela Lugosi, who was famous as Dracula, made any number of films in Hollywood during the 30s and into the 40s, including some of the worst films ever made. Those who have seen him in some of the really bad films he made towards the end of his career and have seen those films only will not really realise what an effective actor he was in his earlier years. And Igor, the role he plays in this film, is probably the last good role he had, actually, and it's well done. I hope you enjoy our movie tonight. Perhaps the most striking thing about it is the sets that were provided for this film. As somebody said, they would be very impractical places to live in, but they look great on the screen. I hope you enjoy our movie tonight, Son of Frankenstein.